I'm Devorah Wallen, and I'd like to share my tea for two, my Torah thought for 2 minutes, more or less. This week's Torah portion is Parshas Korach. Korach led a rebellion against Moshe and Aharon. His ego could not stand the fact that he would have to follow someone else's leadership. We know from Pirkei Avos, the ethics of the fathers, that Aaron HaKohen was called a rodef shalom. He pursued peace. As it says, Ohev shalom v'rodef shalom, oheves habrios u'mekarvan l'Torah. He loved peace and pursued peace. He loved God's creations and he brought them close to Torah. Rabbi Elimelech Biederman shares a funny question that the commentators ask. What kind of mediation did Aaron need to perform with the Jews in the desert? They didn't have any financial concerns. They didn't have any food concerns, remember? Food came from the heaven in the form of the manna, and it could taste like anything you could imagine, kind of like tofu. They were well hydrated from the living waters that flowed from Miriam's well and didn't need to worry. Our clothing was laundered and grew with us in the miraculous clouds of glory. There were no financial issues, nothing to buy or sell. They had Moshe Rabbeinu as their leader and Aharon as their representative. What could they have been fighting about? Rabbi Elimelech Biederman says that the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, needed to find something to fight about. In Hebrew or Yiddish, we call that machlokus, creating divisiveness. The Yetzer Hara always wants conflict. Obviously, since the major matters were taken care of by Hashem and the leaders, they had to quibble only over secondary things. Rabbi Biederman quotes Rabbi Chaim Shmulevich, who quotes the Talmud in Sanhedrin, that says that On ben Pelas, who was a follower of Korach and part of the rebellion, was saved by his wife from Korach's discord. Her womanly wisdom prevented his literal downfall. She said to him, "What difference does it make for you? If Aaron HaKohen is high priest or Korach is, you'll remain a student, an underling. So why are you mixing into this? Why are you getting involved?" The Gemara says that this is an example of the expression from Proverbs, a wise woman builds her home. Rabbi Shmulevich asks, so what's the big chachma, genius here? We all understand this principle, that we don't gain anything by mixing in and creating conflict. It's a simple premise. We should all understand this. So Reb Chaim says, yes, it's a simple premise, but the wisdom behind it is to remember it in the moment. When we're in a heated dispute, the prefrontal cortex, the brain's place of calm wisdom, goes offline. We only have access to our seichel when we're not in an intense moment, when we're calm and present. So, when we receive criticism or unsolicited advice, we may recognize the problem, but only project it as an issue on the other people. We need to have self-reflection and verify that we are not projecting our own problem onto the other person and ignoring our accountability. Rabbi Biederman relates this humorous story. A man complains to his rabbi that he's struggling with his marriage for 10 years. The rabbi says, you need to be able to give in and let go. In Yiddish, fargin. So the man replies, I've been telling this to my wife for 10 years. So the Rav repeats his instructions to the man to fargin. But my wife doesn't get it. The Rav repeats louder, you must give in. And the man replies, okay, you've convinced me. I'll bring my wife next time. She must hear this advice directly from the Rav. When we're emotionally charged, we hear what we want to hear. We don't always apply the lesson to ourselves. As Pirkei Avos chides us, lo ha-medrash ela ha-maisa hu ha-ikar. Freely translated as, actions speak louder than words. The bottom line is that when we're in conflict, we need to get back to our rational mind, since in that state, we can't think straight. Let us come up with and practice simple solutions to quiet the inner noise so we can come to the job that is easier said than done of letting go of our egos in the moment.